Not today, Bubba.
Go get him, Bubba. Love you.
Not today, Bubba. Gordy, can I bother you for a second? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, congratulations. You are here. You have made it. You have arrived. This is the Brilliantly Dumb Show. Welcome home. Sit back, relax, and enjoy some quality entertainment. I'm Big Game Bob, coming to you on your local airwaves. However you're listening, whyever you're listening, folks, we're just happy you are indeed listening. We got a very interesting episode today. I wanted to make this a very golf-friendly episode. You know, we have a big golf following out there. I do a lot of golf content, and I said, you know what? Let's get a golfer. Let's talk some golf. Let's talk some on-course etiquette, the good times, the bad times, the good and bad to golf. What better person to do that than Barstool Lurch? This guy is absolutely incredible. I get a kick out of him. He is one of the co-hosts on the Foreplay pod, hosted by Bro Bible. I apologize. Hosted by Barstool Sports. And you know what? These guys are spectacular. They really are. They really do a good job. They're honestly one of the biggest podcasts and shows for golf. He's a character. He's a good guy. We follow each other back and forth on Instagram, and we both agreed we've been dying to get out there together. We have a lot of the same on-course banter, which is something I really like about him. And, hopefully we can make something happen. The ideal goal that we wanted to do was do the Foreplay pod boys, which is the four of them that they do. They're four co-hosts on the Foreplay pod. And then against the international carpool, I think it would be some phenomenal content. So we're going to try and get that to happen, but we're going to bring him on the show, talk some golf. I think you folks are really going to enjoy this. And then I really wanted to remind you guys again, I just wanted to talk to you about this Patreon that we've moved to for the Brilliantly Dumb Show. Now, again, we will still be doing one podcast a week for all of you folks. Anybody and everybody will be pumping them out there. But starting next week, if you want more of the content, if you want more exclusive content, I get all these messages from people, and I thought a lot about doing the Patreon app, and me and Bro Bible spoke about it. I talked a little bit about it on the show last week, and what excited me, I was hesitant on some things, but here's what really excited me. I get a lot of messages, and I've even seen people out in public, and there's some people who are just such diehard fans. They'll quote me from episodes and episodes ago, and you could just tell the people that are really loyal followers and have continued to just listen to every episode, dial in. And what excited me about the whole thing was being able to create something for that fan, still being able to give to everybody, which is something I want to do, but making an exclusive platform for those fans and kind of a community there. And that excites me. I know damn well. And again, for that site on Patreon, there's a $5 tier and a $9 tier per month. I get that we're not thrilled about having to pay. Totally get that. And that's why in some regards I was hesitant. With that being said, I have full confidence, and I know that I can deliver and make it well worth and beyond worth the dollar that you pay to come get that content. So I'm okay with that, and I'm excited about that. We're going to be hosting happy hours on this, which is going to be incredible, and I'm going to get a chance to engage with the fans more on this platform, so I'm looking forward to that. Folks, you can go to patreon.com/The Brilliantly Dumb Show as well. It's in the link in my bio on Instagram. Come join the community. Come join the movement. Folks, I will not disappoint. We're going to get an extra golf vlog that week. You're going to get the happy hour, which we're going to have a ball with. The first 300 subscribers of the show will get a koozie, the Brilliantly Dumb Show koozie that we're going to send out to you to gear up for these live stream happy hours that I think are going to be incredible. And then the additional podcast per week. Folks, we have no Jersey Jerry today. He's got the Laker pick going on tonight. Right now it is Wednesday night. We're recording the podcast a little bit early. I'm actually headed out to Santa Fe, New Mexico. Believe it or not, with the boys, there's this barbecue pitmaster that I've spoken about, Jack Arnold, who hosts these events at the Four Seasons. We're getting some golfing in with the boys. There's going to be a lot of vlogs coming your way, and we actually ship out tomorrow. So we're doing things a little bit differently. There will be no Jersey Jerry today. We're waiting for his Lakers pick tonight. He's got the over 214 points. He's 4-3 right now, scratching and clawing for his own segment on the Brilliantly Dumb Show. We'll keep an eye out on that. Anywho, we head on over now to Barstool Lurch. This guy's absolutely phenomenal. Big-time golfer. Loves a good time. Let's bring him in. This is Barstool Lurch from the Foreplay Pod. There he is. There he is. Look at the big fella right there. Look at the big fella right there.
Couple claps.
I got to tell you, man.
How you doing?
From a time-wise, you were very flexible with that, Lurch. I appreciate that about you, brother.
Hey, not a problem. For you, anything, my man. How goes it?
You know what's funny? What I was just telling the people before you hopped on here, we kind of look at each other's Instagram, and we kind of agree that we both got to get a golf round in together, no?
100% agree.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
I agree, man. The voice, I love. Your social media presence is on point. And your buddy, Cavs, or whatever the hell his name is, I love that kid to death.
We talking Joey Coldcuts?
Yes, we're talking Joey Coldcuts. It'd be 100% a miss if I didn't get to play around in golf with you two at some point, because I think you're both phenomenal.
It's got to go down, no?
It will. Once our world changes, we'll play around in golf together for sure.
And you know what, too? What really hits with me too. For me, it's just the banter. I think the banter you guys have when you go out there, it's spectacular. And it just happens to be on these nice courses.
It does. Yeah, I mean, are we live right now? Are we going?
Oh, we're going, baby. Hey, from the moment you come on, we're rocking and rolling, brother.
I love that. You have a more official setup than anybody on our side does. Nice mic.
Do you like this?
A little plug of the Brilliantly Dumb right there. I think everything you're doing is great.
Let me ask you something, Rich. Does it pop?
Does this pop?
Yeah. Does the blue pop, or is it a little too much of a pop?
No, I think it pops. I think what you've got there is what you have is, hey, I've got a pretty official studio here. Is that like a soundboard you got there?
Nah, not sound. We don't go that far with it. Look, I wish we could, Lurch, but we can only get so far. You know what I mean?
Well, who knows? Who knows where it goes? But I say it looks good. The white, got a nice white hat, the sign. It all comes together quite well.
You know what I like about you, too? I know you would tell me, too. If you didn't like it, I think you would take a shot at me, no?
What I've got is kind of a software sales set up alongside, the podcast studio that I do.
See, that's what's amazing, too, by the way. I don't know how you pull that off. You're doing all these golf rounds. Do the people at work know that you're working for Barstool? How do you play that?
Yeah, it's been tricky. So that's where the name Lurch came from. And that's it actually helped me separate church and state a little bit. So there was, I used to play men's league hockey up in Boston. That's how I met Riggs. And there was another guy on the team, this kid Viega, total beauty. You'd love him. Just pure comedy. Most talented hockey player I've probably ever played with. Just rather
Northeast guys, no? Like Riggs, Northeast guys, no?
This guy's Canadian fellow. So Riggs is a St. Louis guy. This guy's from Montreal. But anyways, there was two hockey goalies on the team. There was me and then another kid. The other kid kind of refused to play out whatever. And I would play out in goalie skates and a lacrosse helmet the first time. And then he started calling me Lurch because I was just kind of bouncing around up there.
Yeah, you're a big fella.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I'm pretty nimble for a big fella, but in goalie skates, I'm not nimble at all. So then I took on the name Lurch, didn't really think anything of it, but when, sometimes having too many beers, you'd be kind of like a little loose and lurchy. And then coming back to the podcast, they're like, we'll just call you Lurch. I was like, that's perfect, because Lurch will be like my Barstool name, not the most flattering of names by any means. And then I'll have my real name, Ben Severance. And so then I'll just keep them separate that way. Now it's gotten so big that the lines have blended quite a bit. So work knows that this exists and they're okay with it. I just, try to choose what I say and make sure that it's not totally outrageous or totally not well thought through with no real opinion behind it. So I'm careful of what I say, but also, pretty loose. And then from a flexibility standpoint, yeah, I can't thank them enough for what they've given me. I'm in a sales role though. So it's really, if you don't produce, then you're just not going to be hired anyways.
Now you got to think your coworkers though. They got to be watching this content. I mean, it's everywhere. It's hard. Even if you don't want to watch it, you're going to eventually end up watching it with how big it is. No.
Yeah, there's definitely something to that. So it's in people's face regardless. I mean,
You got no choice. You're going to see Lurch.
No, the Lurch is just going to be part of it. And then the video we did with Kisner, I can't like even comprehend. I mean, it's got over like 1 million views. So you're just thinking
It's insane.
that's too many people. That's like a country of people that have seen this video now.
Well, you know, plus too, when you go to take your swings and you're out on the course, you got to think too, like me, knowing how many people are going to see these swings on that first tee box, I'm startled. I'm a deer in headlights. Are you nervous going to a tee box knowing you got all these cameramen behind you? It's going to go on Barstool. Everybody's going to see it. I'm shaking. There's no way Trent wasn't shitting bricks either.
So, yeah, I think Trent shits bricks each time, but I think everybody that because now you just like, it is what it is. Your swing is what it is. Like, people have seen it enough, and I'm okay because I think I'm going to have good swings and I'm going to have horrible swings. So I just kind of say, F it. Let's just go take it back and see where the ball goes. Because enough people have seen my swing already. So, like, now first tee boxes probably scare me less.
But at the same time, Lurch, with that being said, though, you're a pretty, you don't got to be modest. Aren't you a pretty good golfer?
I mean, I didn't grow up golfing, but I've got my game to a pretty good place. So
to where you're confident that what? You're confident that you could break 90 every single time you go out, just about?
Yeah, I think, some 90 I'm pretty comfortable with. So, yeah, I mean, my handicap is the lowest, and I don't know, I hate to brag about myself, but
let it rip.
It's down to a 4.5. So I'm a 4.5 index.
Oh, see, but doesn't it get to the point? Like, doesn't it get to the point where if you're too good or if you have too low of a handicap where it's not as fun, because then you expect to be so locked in every time. My question, if you're shooting 80-something, are you still having a good time or is that affecting your time?
No, it's a great time. I don't care about
you. Good for you. And that's why we would play together.
Yes. And so actually one guy gave me the biggest compliment I ever got the other day, like about that same vein. He was like, so I was playing with Captain Cons, who's another Barstool guy, and then one of his buddies. And Cons was telling his buddy that I was like pretty good or whatever. But his buddy was like, dude, I suck. I don't want to play with this. And Cons said to him, he's like, no, he won't give a shit. If you suck, he sucks at all. He's just out there to have a couple beers and laughs. So we did that. We played around together. And then like 3 weeks later, we were just sitting on the beach having a beer. And he said that to me. And it was like the best compliment that I ever could have gotten.
And I don't blame you for taking that out. It says everything about you on the golf course. If your buddies, you learn so much about some people on the golf course. As far as you're going to see, I like a guy with me that's going to cheer me on. If I hit a good shot, I want you to tell me that I hit a good shot. You know what I mean? That's the banter that I get with you guys. And because it keeps you going.
Totally. I totally agree with that. And you need that. Even in a match. Like, I won't be technically rooting for you pre-shot, but if you hit a good one, I'll let you know that it was like, that's a great shot. Whatever you did right there with the ball and club, like, congrats to you. That's fantastic. And I think you need that, dude. You don't want some selfish, like, prick out there that's not, just in his world, but he's not part of the group by any means. And I will say, we're lucky now we get to play the most outrageous golf courses in the world. It's like spoilage to a max, but it's all about the people. It's all about the walk. It's all about kind of just enjoying the day. You can play some podunk course with a bunch of just hooligans and great guys, and you're going to have a much better time than if you play, Oakmont or something like that, and you just play with some a-holes. And not to, throw Oakmont under the bus, because I actually played there and played with some great dudes.
Well, but better, you just played Wingfoot.
We did.
Did that just tear you up? I mean, it's a shit show out there.
It is. Have you ever been?
It's a shit show.
It is a shit show. Have you ever played?
No, I haven't even got close to playing that. And you know what? I'm at the point now where I'm a steady low 90s.
That's good.
And I would love to be at the point, like Joey Cold Cuts, he can swing it. But the problem with Cold Cuts is I would say he's like an 8 handicap. The problem with Cold Cuts, if he's anything above that, which usually you're going to be above that for the day, he implodes. You know what I mean? He just totally implodes. So I don't ever want to get to the point where I'm too good. If I could get to the point where I'm mid-80s, then I could really appreciate these courses.
Yeah, I think I don't know. Maybe I'm stuck in that level because I didn't grow up golfing. I picked up golf after college, and so I don't have like a trustworthy swing. So when I go out, sometimes I play really well and I'm in like the low to mid 70s, and then other times I'll shoot like an 88 and really have no chance to fix it because I don't understand anything about the golf. So, and I'm like, I'm hoping the good side shows up, but if the bad side shows up, like it is what it is, and then so be it, and I'll shoot an 86 or whatever the case is. But that's interesting about cold cuts because he's a guy that fascinates me. Now, in your stories and everything like that, you see cold cuts from time to time. He looks, lazily excited about stuff. Like he doesn't have the most like energetic face I've ever seen in the world, but then he's got this smirk that hits his face when he smirks. It is the most exciting thing because I want to know what the synapses are doing in his brain. I want to know what he's thinking about. He's a very intriguing figure, that cold cuts.
You know what, too, with cold cuts, too? It's easy to get behind a big guy. You know what I mean? He's a big fella, and it's just easy to get behind a guy like that.
Yeah, it is. It is. He's got a big lower half.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. He's Bill. He's stocky too. On the lower half is stocky. Usually, you say stocky, you talk about the upper half.
Yeah,
He's stocky lower half.
Yeah, he's loaded from the belt down. And then how did you meet Cold Cuts?
So it's a funny story, actually. He was working at the same hotel. We were both working at the Four Seasons Hotel. Nice. Now he's a manager at the restaurant there, and I was the front desk agent. Okay. So when you do the front desk agent, you have to be an overnight front desk agent. Well, you kind of pay your dues. So Cold Cuts comes over because our manager was complaining about the volume in the restaurant. And Cold Cuts comes barreling over to the front desk to speak to my manager complaining. Because he doesn't think that the music is too loud. He thinks everybody's having a good time. So he says to me, he's like, do you think the music is too loud? I said, no, I actually think it's pretty nice. Is that not spectacular?
Yeah, that's tremendous. That is tremendous. Yeah. Maybe that's where he gets his outfits, being a restaurant manager. The shit he puts on is...
It's outrageous, man. He looks like a pit boss, too, like with his suits when he shows up to, for work, like that type of Cold Cuts. He's got that pit boss mentality to him, too.
Yeah, he is an interesting fella. I mean, he's a guy that I would love to play around the golf with the two of you. I think it would be just a good old time.
I'm telling you, even just from watching the Instagram, obviously I follow Foreplay Pod as well. By the way, man, the guests that you guys are rolling in with.
Yeah.
Who's the best one? Who's the best guest you think you've had? Because sometimes I want to have golfers and I want to try for them. Like I would love to have like a Tony Finau. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you got to pick your spots because Tony Finau may not bring much to the table in the sense of, he's kind of like he's a quiet, just like well-spoken guy.
Yeah. And you never really know of who's going to bring it. And then also it can be daily too. Like a guy you might have great rapport with on Tuesday, whatever's going on. Wednesday, just not his day. He's thinking about other things, and that just is the case. I don't know if I have a favorite. We certainly get the guest list we get is just
ridiculous.
I mean, I think it goes to the Barstool brand and the whole company and where it's going. It's just bananas how big it is and the following and how captivated people are by certainly Dave and then the other people here at Barstool. So I think that's like amazing. So the guest list we get is just, and like what's
out of this world.
It is. It's ridiculous. And then you're seeing like what potentially might trickle in over the next, couple weeks, months, etc. And you're just like, this is crazy. So it's been really neat that way. I don't know if I have a favorite. I love just hearing perspective from each of the guys though, about like one thing or another that they have. And then, I don't think you totally have to speak with golfers, and that's like a change we've been thinking through as a podcast. Like golfers are great, but we're certainly not a golf podcast that's going to break anyone's swing down. We're almost like a cheap, like enews.com or something.
But you know what too, at the same time too, you guys can adapt to the point where it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't all have to be golfers. And some of the best episodes I feel like come from guys that are like, a guy that you guys had on that I got a kick out of too. How good was Shooter McGavin?
Oh, he's tremendous.
Was he not
He's
just
tremendous.
phenomenal?
He's great.
He was absolutely straight. Nothing was off limits, too. Like, I learned a couple minutes in that this guy's going to let it fly.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be more, I don't know, guarded's not the right term, but I don't know, not wanting to talk about
Reserved?
Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
Something. Yeah. There's a term there that I'm not going to come up with. And I thought he was going to be that term that I can't think of right now, but I thought he was going to be that. And then he was just amazing. He was totally off the chest. Like there was no like agenda that seemed from him. He was just like free flowing, would talk about whatever and would kind of honor the Shooter McGavin name, which was something that I didn't see happening. But yeah, I mean, he gave us, laughs forever. It was on the other night. I turned it on and I had to watch. I mean, there's no way I was going to.
You have no choice but to watch. If you scroll by it at this point, and if you didn't like Shooter McGavin before, you have to now. Folks, we interrupt this message to let you know that the Brilliantly Dumb Show is brought to you by Raycon earbuds. Grace, sometimes I need to just dial it in, be in my zone, forget everything else that's going on around me. What do I do so? Slip a couple Raycon earbuds into your ears, and you'll be in your zone. It's a big game, Bob. Guarantee. Their newest model, the Everyday E25 earbuds, are their best ones yet with 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a noise isolating fit. That's what I'm talking about, Grace Ibrahim. Now's the time to get the latest and greatest from Raycon. Get 15% off your order at buyraycon, RAYCON.com/dumb. Yeah, dumb. That's buyraycon.com/dumb for 15% off Raycon wireless earbuds. Buyraycon.com/dumb. Let's keep this show moving on. It's unbelievable. It really. He even came on. He came on the show, and I didn't even ask him. Like I just did the clap, like I did for you when we brought him in. And he just came right out with the shooters. He just started rolling. Came in the gates, just rolling the shooters. It's like he was really enjoying it.
Yeah, which speaks to him.
Mm-hmm.
He is one of the best guys. I've seen you hang out with a bunch of. You just had Kevin Dillon on too, didn't you? You mix it up with him from time to time.
You guys had them on too. He's unbelievable on a golf course.
I've heard. He said he was really good.
He is. Well, that's the funny thing about him too. Like I'll talk down my game, you know what I mean? So that you don't expect much. And then you come out and maybe I'll surprise you. He'll tell you he's good.
Yeah.
And he's a character on the course and he's got his short game is unbelievable. It's unreal.
One shot in Entourage that he said, he was like, yeah, they said like shank it or something like that, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, I'm actually like, a stick. I'm like, I don't know, it might be a 2 or a 3. Like he's phenomenal.
He's really, and we got him on the course with Connolly who played E. You got to be an Entourage guy. And just to see the dynamic of them and see how much like they are in the show, it was out of this world.
That's great.
Hey, tell me something.
So tell me about your golf game. Is it starting to peak? Is it going in the right direction?
It is.
I apologize for not knowing enough.
It is. You know what I finally did and caved in on, and I always said that I was going to do it, and I'm happy that I did, is I did the lessons. I did the lessons because, and you kind of alluded to it earlier. Yeah. You can go out there, but if you're chunking it up, you can go to the driving range all the time. If you don't know what you're doing wrong, you're doomed. You know what I mean? Like I got to be able to make a miss and kind of have an idea of what I'm doing wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm with you on that. I never took a golf lesson, except.
Fuck you. Seriously?
So I took one, and it was before I ever started playing rounds of golf. So this was maybe in high school or college or something like that. I would play 1 or 2 rounds a year with my dad. And maybe I would say more like 1. And basically he told me like one tip, just have like a straight left arm. So if you're a righty, you would have a straight left arm, pull it back and just swing the thing through.
Yep.
And so that was the only thought I had in my brain for as long as I've golfed. And now that I've gotten good or better or whatever, I'm into golf more. I'm seeing other things. And it's actually mentally like
It
effed me
still
up.
sticks with you till this day.
Well, that's my one thing that I go after is a straight left arm. But the one thing now that, or the things that really screw me up now is that I know there's so much to the golf swing. Like the other day, somebody told me like I need a stronger left hand in my grip. And so I started squeezing the club harder. It was like, no, you like turn it. And so then you start hearing all these things about the golf swing. And then so when you miss one, you're like, dude, this could be now one of any 1,000 factors. I wish I just had the straight left arm because that's all I thought I could fix.
And that's the thing too, is when somebody gives in, the people are always like, the guys that play a lot, they're always kind of hesitant to throw a tip in there because if you throw a tip in there, you could really set that person up for a disaster.
Totally. I'm not a tip guy. Don't give me a tip.
Yeah, you're not at all, no?
No. I'm going to say that's a tough one. And you know where I get them sometimes? If you're playing really bad, you're in like a 2v2 best ball match with your buddy, and you just haven't helped out on like the first 6 holes.
It's the worst. I've been there so many times. Go ahead.
No,
you're not helping.
You've obviously been there too, and so you're walking up like to say the 6th or 7th fairway, and you're just making double after double after double. And your partner looks at you and is like, he gives you that tip. He's like, I don't want to say too much, but like I'm really.
That's how they always started too.
And you're like, dude,
yeah.
but you have to, because you can't be like, no, you just kind of like slouch and die a little inside. And then you look back and you're like, I really like, I'm there for you, man. I'm trying to make this work. I'm going to make some pars for you. You can give that like BS claim that like you're going to now all of a sudden have control over if you make a par or not. But you're like, dude, I'm going to make a couple pars for you. But it is the most helpless in the world. That's the only time that I'll be okay with a tip. I mean, yeah, sometimes caddies give me tips and I'm like, dude, not this early. I don't really, maybe on like the 18th, like, or something like that. Or if I ask for it, tips is like a digestion of like a Golf Digest. And it's like spewing all this like 10,000 words at you, even though if it's like one comment, that one comment can send a bad golfer. It can just unravel you.
Totally unravel them. And it could even carry on to their next rounds too, where I've had it happen to me as well, where it carries on.
Yeah, it doesn't leave. There's no leaving. It tells you that like your hands are in a wrong spot, or you're like not turning enough. And you're like, dude, I wasn't even thinking about that. That wasn't even part of my game.
And now I am.
Totally. Yes. And now it's all I think about.
Do you think, like, when you go out with these caddies and you're on these real nice courses, like, this is the problem I have with the caddy. The issue I have is I almost feel like they're just there judging your game. And even if they're not showing it, it's like you do, to some regard, you want to impress your caddy.
Well, yeah, you just don't want to be pathetic. I think that's like where I always like, just don't be like so bad that I'm pathetic today, that like I can't hit a golf ball, that I can't, just don't be at that level. I will say something that always kind of calms me down is like when you're doing like the early banter and you're like, yeah, do you play? And they're like, no. I'm like, unreal.
We're good. That's exactly what we want to hear.
Evens me out. But then we're like, yeah, like I'm trying out, like I'm almost on like, the Corn Ferry Tour, but I'm like, you're like, dude, I don't, like, I'll just carry the bag. Man.
By the way, I think almost every caddy's had a shot at the Corn Ferry Tour at some point. What I mean?
It feels like there's a big percentage of them out there that are close. But I will say, it relaxes me when they're just like, no, I don't play golf. I just caddy, and I'm like, unreal. Let's go. Let's go.
Are you ever a guy, do you ever, when the caddy's on the green, do you ever see this? I can never fathom me doing. Do you ever question their reads? And if you are, do you let them know that you're questioning it?
So no, because I don't putt well or anything like that. I will give like an "Are you sure?" The other thing that I've gotten really good about is like,
"Are you sure?"
The "Are you sure?" Like,
of course.
Something totally different. But then sometimes I will say, and I don't know, maybe this is the wrong thing, but because you're paying the caddy or whatever. I'm just like, don't give me a tip unless like I ask for it like on the fairway or something like that with the range. Like, don't give me the one thing I hate is certainly like driving or an iron play is just tell me the number. Like whatever the number is, just tell me that. And then if I ask for a tip, just tell me that. And that came off like I'm a dick. I feel like I've got pretty good, usually banter or rapport with caddies, but like that's what I ask for. And then on the greens, I say pretty much tell me everything. Like anything you see, just tell me, because I've got less of a clue of what's going on out there.
What do you think the standard caddy tip is? Because you can't do 20. You just can't do 20. These guys are working hard. I think it's like I always wonder, and throughout the round, I'm wondering, what should I be tipping this guy? And I'm thinking that on like hole 3. What's a proper caddy tip, Lurch?
So I don't even know. I think like $100 standard bag is like what they go for. And then when you go to these fancy clubs, like sometimes it gets more than that. And whatever that is, just tell me what that number is and I'll just give them the caddy, like whatever. Yeah, I don't know what that is though. But it's definitely gotten more, because when I would play like in high school or college, I would play like one round a year or something like that. And we would play and it was like, I think it was like 65 or $80 at the local course around me. But now it's like anything under 100 is like, you can't come out here. And then it gets up to like 120, 140 at some places. And you're like, I should become a caddy.
I agree with you in the sense of it's I feel like $100 is the standard.
Yeah.
So, look, you're not going to blow the guy away if you give him 100, but at the same time, you're good. You're not going to get questioned. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I will say, if I shank balls all over the golf course, if it's like a total mess, then I up it a little bit.
I got news for you.
He's doing a little bit more work.
That's a great point. That really is. Because come to think of it, maybe the $100 is a little short from the times that I've had caddies to where they find these balls too. You'd be amazed that they find.
They're incredible. They're incredible. When we played the Kisner match, that guy, our caddy down there, was the best thing I've ever seen. 4 guys, he would force them. He 4-caddied for us. We'd hit all 4 balls. By the time we walked to the best ball that we were going to play, he had picked up all 3 other balls and given us a distance and given us like, it plays up, plays down, little win. Like he knew everything. Dude, he would, as soon as we hit, boom, 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 scurry right off and get all 3 balls. Even if we shanked them, dude, he'd find them. They'd be cleaned off and right in the palm of his hand. He was amazing.
Do they ever, for you, when there's a lot of terrain, when I've noticed that I've had a caddy, and it startled me the first time that I had a caddy was I'm getting ready to go I'm on the tee box on 1. Mm-hmm. He comes up and I think he's going to chop it up with me. He says hello and then bolts it to the fairway, but I haven't shot my shot yet. So I'm thinking, I didn't know that what they're supposed to do is get out there so they have a better read on these things.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always tricky though, because when they do that, it puts more pressure on you.
Totally.
Like,
I totally agree.
I can pull it way left and you're already 200 yards out. Because the worst thing you want to do, I start to feel bad when they now have to walk back. Walk is one of the worst walks in golf, where you top it 30 yards, everybody starts walking off, and maybe your caddy didn't even see the ball, so he's like, oh, maybe I just lost that one. But then you got to give him the wave, the driver out of the rough to save him the 200 yards and the embarrassment. But no, you got to give him because your buddy's like, this is match. I'm not giving you a mulligan. So you got to give them the way.
It's amazing. Like, we have a big golf following, and we never get to have these type of talks because it's so true. It really is.
Yeah, you don't want to do. It's nice though. It's always nice talking a little golf, talking a little nonsense.
Well, the other thing too that I have, and maybe I shouldn't, but I do. I feel the need to get the caddy involved on conversation. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're there with your foursome, but to some regard, you still got to make sure they're having a good time.
Totally. The caddy can make it the round 30 times better.
Yes.
Like, especially elite courses and things like that, a caddy can be not like the saving grace, but the catalyst from like a great round to an amazing round. There's caddy, like I like text some of the caddies that I had, like we just go back and have numbers, like shared numbers because we had so much fun on the golf course. I think caddies are a huge piece of the puzzle. And it's great when I'm like, when you have the good banter and you're having fun with them, you know, potentially buy them a drink or two, and like everything's good, and you're just out there for a little walk on a sunny day, hitting a ball every 4 minutes. It's like, this is exceptional.
There's nothing better. And especially
No.
to a caddy that kind of, I feel like they do a good job of reading pretty quickly how things are going to go as far as whether this is going to be match play, like a serious round, or whether, you know, you're going to be buying them a couple transfusions on the turn, and they kind of adapt to it. What was the spot that you had? You guys played a golf round. I thought it was some of the most enjoyable content you guys put out. What was the name of the course where you guys would finish up your round, and then there's like a shed? It's like a caddy shed.
Oh, this was Aaron Hills.
Arcade games, billiards.
Yeah.
What was that?
So that was Aaron Hills, and that is just one of the most amazing golf courses, golf experiences of all time. Then you've got guys there, the caddies there. You got Handsome Tim, you got Tempo Tim, you got just some real beauties there. And you got Hanky Panky, you got just good guys that caddy, and then you can also hang out with. And I love playing ping pong. We had a ping pong at my house growing up, so I got a little bit of game.
Yep.
So I was challenging all the caddies and beating all the caddies down there after the round. But yeah, that was we were talking a bunch of smack on the course. But those caddies there are, I mean, second to none. They're phenomenal.
Even out of the trips that you guys done, and you guys always vlog the trips and all, you could even tell that you guys were having the most fun there. I mean, you could just tell you were having a good time.
Yeah, that was also like when you talk about like who you go with, that was a mix of some of my like college buddies, high school buddies, and then buddies from Boston. So everybody we had in the mix was just exceptional.
Dude,
And then they do such a special job there where if you like go and pay for, you know, one of these like spots on the course, when you get to the range in the morning, like, so you walk over this hill.
But you got to get there early, right?
Oh, you do. It's just because you got to enjoy the amenities, everything that they offer.
So, man, do you speak the truth? It's so true.
You got to. I mean, you're there. Why you're going to sleep for another 15 minutes? Get up. I don't care if you're hungover. Just go and just look and enjoy a hot coffee and don't swing the club. I'm fine with that, but you just got to do it. So you get there and you walk down, and then you're like kind of like in the parking lot or looking the parking lot left, and you walk up this hill that's only like 8 feet, but it protects the driving range and allows it to be very private. You walk over this ridge, and then they've got the little bag setup stand for you there with your name on it, and then your caddy standing there. And
that is phenomenal.
Phenomenal. It's phenomenal. It's so exceptional what they do there. And then you hit a couple balls. I was having a breakfast sandwich, talking with my caddy. We're all having kind of like, you know, the pre-match jitters, talking up a little like, you know, nonsense to your
Now,
buddy.
is the caddy there with you on? So is the caddy there with you on the driving range?
On the driving range. So then,
that is spectacular.
I will say that, and I'm just thinking about this for the first time, makes the caddy player rapport even easier because they see what you're dealing with, and you get these free swings where you're hitting the ball, nothing matters, but maybe they, you know, you hit 10 balls, they see one good one, we're like, all right, we can work on that.
Yeah.
But you know the bads there too, so they'll talk to you a little bit, you know, and it makes it for a much better relationship.
And you get it to where that all that small talk that you were going to have for the first couple holes, that's out of the way.
Get rid of it. Stop.
Dude, it's a beautiful thing. I got to tell you what, Lurch, we got to bring you on more often. I mean, we've never, you would think with all the golf content we put on, we never have these type of talks. And I just love talking golf. Let me tell you something. Anytime you want to come on, baby, you say the word, all right?
I would love to do it anytime you want to. This has been a ton of fun, and let's get around together. Hopefully, God, I hope it's sooner rather than later. Who knows in the world we live in these days? But I would love it. So we'll find a fourth with somebody from the Foreplay pod. We'll do a little 2v2 matchup, or maybe we'll find an eightsome. You get another two guys, and we'll do.
We could even do our international carpool going against the Foreplay pod, boys. I think we would have an absolute ball out there. Just keep the cameras rolling at all times, brother.
Fantastic, dude. This has been great. Well, enjoy yourself. Thanks for bringing me on, and I would love to do it again anytime.
Dude, you're spectacular. Folks, go check it out, the Foreplay pod. These boys are phenomenal. Lurch, you got an open invitation over here, baby.
Thanks, buddy. Enjoy.
Take care, brother. Well, folks, we got a little change of plans here. I know I told you that you weren't getting Jersey Jerry again. Change of plans. Shift gears real quick. We finish up with Barstool Lurch. I get a call from Jerry. He said, Bob, are we recording this? We're recording today, Jerry. There's no games you could take. You may not have a segment. We don't know if the Lakers are winning or not. He said, well, did you record the Ask Bob segment yet? I said, no, I haven't. He said, well, I'll do the Ask Bob segment. Sure thing, Jerry. Sure thing. Bring him on for the Ask Bob segment. Look, I told you, folks, the lead up to that 100th episode to see if he's got the segment or not, he gets to be in every episode. If he wants to do the Ask Bob segment, we're going to let Jerry do the Ask Bob segment. So screw it. Here he comes, folks. You're going to get Gerard Gilfone for the Ask Bob segment to close episode 98 here. Gerard Gilfone, are you with us? Gerard Gilfone, are you with us?
What's up, Bob?
Jerry Dunn, what do you drink? You got iced tea there, Jerry?
Yeah, one of my favorite drinks, Arizona green tea.
Are you okay with taking on the task of the Ask Bob segment here today?
Yeah, I could do that, Bobby.
You got no issue with that, Jerry, okay?
Nothing.
You wanted to let that rip?
Yeah, I let that rip. So, Bob, I just want to start off by asking this first question here. Now, one of my buddies said this to me the other day. I didn't know what it meant. I Googled it, and then I found out actually what it meant. And I know you like to hit the bottle a little bit when you go out. Bobby, have you ever had a thing called whiskey penis or whiskey dick?
I tell you, Jerry.
My buddy said he had it.
Oh boy, am I gonna regret this, Jerry? You really do your research. You took some time on these questions, huh, Jerry?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, whiskey dick. I think we've both gotten whiskey dick, no, Jerry?
Well, I've never had it because I don't drink.
Oh yeah. Well, look, I think everybody at some point in time has got whiskey dick, and I mean, there's really not much you could do about it. The problem is with the whiskey dick is if you do get it, okay, it's very strange after. As far as it's an awkward experience after. It's hard to carry on that night with the girl.
Yeah, I got you.
Whiskey dick, by the way, folks, for those of you who don't know, it's when you can't, when you got a flaccid penis. Is that the good word to put for it, Jerry?
Yeah, that's fine. I never got it from drinking, but when I was in an intimate relationship at one point, for some reason, when I was hitting it, I was thinking about jelly beans, and then my dick went soft.
Oh, the issue with it too, Jerry. A lot of times I think we as the guys, if we get it, we're so worried about, shit, I couldn't perform. But when you think about it, when you turn it the other way, the girl's the one who's embarrassed because she thinks that she couldn't get you hard.
Exactly. You're right about that.
You know what I mean? So if it ever does happen to me, I try and think, you know what, she's suffering just as much as I am right now, and then try and carry on the night with whatever conversation you could brew up.
Gotcha. Another question I had, Bob, would be, Bobby, what's as you know, I'm an emotional type of guy here, and a lot of stuff touches me. What was the most you ever been like touched in the heart by a fan?
Okay, yeah. See, look at you, Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. By far, I don't know if you saw or not. Did you see the video of there was a video, a kid's parents, a kid who had cancer. His parents, his name is Eric Gill. His parents had me deliver the news to him that his cancer was in remission. So he had been battling cancer for years. I was on the golf course, and I got a DM from his buddy saying, his dad wants to call you and ask if you could do that. And that was it was hard to wrap my head around the fact that his parents wanted me to be the one to break that type of news. Because you think what the parents have been through, as much as Eric had been through, you think about, too, what his parents has gone through in that process as well. So, that was tough. I had a little bit of waterworks like you did with the sourdough bread on. I couldn't help it.
No, yeah. That's something special, man. That really is how you delivered that news to Eric, man. That's something else.
Hey, sometimes you got to let it, I really couldn't hold it. And when he got on there and it was the most nervous I had ever been for sure. But yeah, it was pretty wild, Gerard.
Yeah. Wow. Bob, the last question I had here was, would you ever consider, now I'm just going to lay it on the table here. Would you ever consider buying a French Bulldog for me? Because I am a certified breeder here.
You know what, Jerry? I tell you, you've been sending me videos of your dogs, and I will gotta say, in all honesty, these things are pretty trained up, no, Jerry?
Yeah, you seen what I sent you today, man. I mean, these dogs are, like I said, they're advanced puppies here. I'm not just breeding regular dogs.
But Jerry, you're a blue collar guy. You say it yourself. It's got to be a tough thing to do, to go out to work as much as you do, and come back home to 6 puppies.
It is, it's a lot of work. It really is. But when I look at these puppies and I say to myself, I produce these puppies. This is my work right here. It's a good feeling. It really, really is. And
Well,
it's,
you know what,
it's something to come home to. It's something to come home to.
I'll give you this, Jerry. I'll give you this. You keep doing what you're doing for the podcast. You hit this bet. You hit this 7 out of 3 on your bets, and I got news for you. There's a slight chance I would buy a dog from Puppies by Jerry. There's a slight chance. You hit the segment. You keep doing what you're doing, and maybe we'll talk. Because I got to say, again, I was very surprised to see how well you have these puppies trained, Jerry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Bobby, that means a lot, and I appreciate you appreciating the work that I put in here.
Totally. Jerry, you just keep this on rolling. I'm happy that we could get you on to do the Ask Bob segment. I know, look, like I said to you earlier, I said I got no problem with you coming on leading up to this 100 episode. Build the hype. Jerry, if you could get 6 out of 3, the hype coming into that game, of whatever game that would be absolutely spectacular, worth the price of admission right there. Jerry, is it okay if I close down the show here?
Yeah, shut it down, Bobby. I got some more training to do over here.
Folks, there he is. Jersey Jerry takes over for the Ask Bob segment. Questions submitted by Jersey Jerry and only Jersey Jerry himself. You all have a damn good weekend. We will see you next week. We got the Lakers game on tonight. Root for points, a lot of points. Thanks for listening, as always, to the Brilliantly Dumb Show. Take care now. Not today, Bubba.
Go get him, Bubba. Love you.
Not today, Bubba. Gordy, can I bother you for a second?